Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 10 of my 52 Essential Album series. This week, it is our first jazz record for this series. We are looking at Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, Whipped Cream and Other Delights, released April 1st, 1965. I saw one thing saying it was just released in April 1965 without a specific date, and then when I did some further researching, another Google result said it was April 1st, so that's what we're going with here, but it just said April 1965 on the Wikipedia page for this particular album. Notable tracks on this album are Tangerine, A Taste of Honey, Ladyfingers, and their version of Love Potion Number 9. I actually have this album on vinyl right here. So this was my parents got rid of their record player like years ago. So for a while they didn't have a record player. So I decided to go. I went to actually Bed Bath and Beyond. Because like I had a coworker that had bought a record player there, so I bought basically the same model probably. I think I've been through a couple different models from them. I had that original one, and then I replaced that one after it broke a few years ago with a different one. But this was one of the first records I ended up getting when I took all my parents' records, which included a bunch of stuff from this time period. Like I said, it's a jazz album, and I really wasn't familiar with his entire like work up at that point. I think this is the first album of his that I actually Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass that I listened to. We're gonna take a look at the back here. We just flip this around. So we have our back page there. There's some other records on the bottom. I actually have this one as well. I bought that used. I think that's actually his first record, which I ended up picking up shortly after getting this. I think I have this one and that one, The Lowly Mole, Whipped Cream and Other Delights, of course, and then Going Places is another one of his records. So we're looking at our track list here. We have on side one, we have A Taste of Honey, Green Peppers, Tangerine, Bittersweet Samba, Lemon Tree, Whipped Cream, and then on side number two, we have Love Potion number 9, El Garbanzo, Ladyfingers, Butterball, Peanuts, and Lollipops and Roses. There's been a couple different reissues of this that include, I think, some other stuff. I'm just going off of the original kind of version right here. And the first song I think I remember downloading from Herb Alpert was actually Tangerine, and I want to say that was like in 2002 or something. Because I was watching, I need to pull up the thing here, because it was in a Star Trek episode. It's 11001001. I always mess up the name of that episode just because it's ones and zeros. It's from the first season where these the minor aliens kind of come aboard the Enterprise and they redo one of the holodecks to Riker's specifications of it being like a jazz club. And I remember watching that episode, and I don't know if any of the jazz music in that episode was like just was based on real music or if it was just something they had written for the show. But I kind of started taking a more serious liking to jazz music, and I remember going on. It was either like maybe it wasn't Napster at the time because I think Napster was already done, but something like LimeWire or Kazaa, one of the other like file sharing services that were back around that time period, and just downloaded a bunch of different just random jazz music. And Tangerine was the first Herb Alpert song I downloaded. I just really liked it. It's very kind of, it's definitely one of the more like, I don't know if downbeat's the right word, but it's definitely a slower song compared to most of the other songs on this album. But I just really like that particular song, and then I listened to the album just twice actually today because it's a very short album. It's like maybe like 30 minutes. I think there's another version that's like 35 minutes that has some extra stuff. There was also like I think like a remixed version of this album by other bands. I don't know if I have that. I'll have to take a look and see if I do. But it was like basically like it was like this album like reimagined. It was from what I remember listening to it on streaming. It was actually pretty cool. But like I said, Tangerine is great. Taste of Honey is the first song on the album, and I really just like the way that one goes. It's like, and then there's Ladyfingers and their version of Love Potion number 9, which is a cover. I don't remember exactly who did it originally. It's basically an entirely instrumental album, with the exception of Tangerine has some very faint vocals that are like they're very very quiet. Not even sure whose vocals they are. But this is definitely my favorite album of theirs. I know I kind of knew of him after this from stuff like Spanish Flea, which was kind of like a meme. I think it was on like one of the YTMND sites for a while. It was one of the background songs for a lot of those sites that people created. And then there was the flash animation of Jack Palance reading some kind of commercial, like a radio commercial. And Tijuana Taxi was featured in that video. So those were kind of like an introduction to his music. But again, this is the first jazz album on here. I do have a few other jazz albums on vinyl that I probably need to just revisit. So there's probably going to be more jazz records in this series in the future. But Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass, Whipped Cream and Other Delights is definitely it's definitely up there for my favorite Herb Alpert albums. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll be back again next week with another album. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one.